Morning. We are at day 25. Day 25 of this challenge. And if you are new, I'm doing a 30-day challenge. And this is to practice my skills in front of the camera to get more, more concentrated and more articulate with the things that I've got going on in my life, with the things that I really want to share, and to share my insights around, for example, being in front of the camera, things that come up that I'm resistant to. And as they come up, I mention them, I bring them up, and I bring up any things that are going on in my body, if I have a resistance to something. And the idea is to really just normalize the fact that we encounter certain resistances at certain times. Sometimes we go to do things that we want to do, and all of a sudden we go, oh, wait, I feel nervous now. Or you could be halfway through something and start to come up against something that you want to talk about, and you hold yourself back out of whatever the reason may be. It may be a fear of hurting other people. It may be a fear of being seen, fear of being found out. Maybe there's something that you're shameful about, something that you feel guilty about, something that you fear judgment around. Maybe there's something that you wish you could talk about, and yet you don't have the conviction to talk about it. Or you maybe worry about what people are going to think about you if you share that particular topic. And so, this video, it's all around that form of self-expression, and really just, let's normalize it. It's like there's no reason why we should be scared of a camera. However, we've been through a big transition over the last, let's say, 20 years, 30 years since phones came out. We've had cameras, we've had all of this technology come up over the years that has just been incredible. And also with new developments and new expansions in technology come the resistance with that. And so you may be someone who uses a smartphone all the time. You're watching this on it. So you've probably made friends with it somewhat. And yet speaking in front of a camera seems to come up in that realm of public speaking, which is one of the biggest fears in the world. People have the fear of public speaking. And so why is that? Why are people afraid of public speaking? Being up on a stage in front of people, it's vulnerable. There's nowhere to hide. It's you up on stage. It's you in front of a camera. Sure enough, this is a different setting, being in front of the camera, but it's not that unsimilar. In fact, there's probably going to be more people seeing this than if I were to stand up in a stage around my local area. And so some of the videos that I've put up have had 800 views or something. I'm new to YouTube, and 800 views is quite a decent amount for me. It seems like to think that 800 people have at least seen the video. Maybe some have watched it all the way through. Some have watched 5 minutes of it, or a minute, or 30 seconds, and just gone, yep, that's enough. Or maybe they've acknowledged it and said, you know what, that was really cool. I don't want to watch the whole thing though. Now, there's so many different perspectives. And so this is why this space is around holding attention. It's around being able to capture someone's attention. And granted, 30 minutes on a video about a guy talking in front of a camera, unless you're interested in it, it's probably not going to really hit all the right points. Or maybe it will. Maybe you're curious about doing it. Maybe there's something you find interesting about watching someone talk about their process. Maybe you're not ready to do it yourself, and that's okay. And so the idea of doing this is purely for my practice. My practice pretending that I'm talking to people, that I'm engaging with someone. So this means that I can't just sit here for 5 minutes and brainstorm on what I'm going to talk about next. It's keeping that flow running and allowing myself to improvise and to think on my feet, which is immensely valuable in life for any endeavor. If you're in business, if you're pretty much any form of business, if you're with like family, with, and if you're a musician, definitely if you're a musician, an actor, there's a lot of roles that you could possibly benefit from being able to free flow on this and not get stuck, because the practice is in actually letting the words come out and not vomiting over everyone and just saying shit just to say shit, because that doesn't really work anyways. There's no intention behind it. You could vomit out everything that you hate about something, and maybe that's valuable, maybe that's what you want to do. It's a completely individual thing. It's going to be your expression, and no one else is going to like sound the same as you. They're not going to express the same things as you, use the same words, the same expressions, the same emotions. And so for you to be able to lean into this is to practice that skill of going, I'm going to keep opening this. I'm going to let my mind get out of the way, because the mind will often come up with, my experience with my mind was that it was stopping my flow. If I would allow it to have control, it would it would really like restrict what was coming through. It was like, this is allowed to be said, this is not allowed to be said. It's this big discerning device, and I don't believe it was really filtering in the most efficient way, not the way that I would like it. And that's also okay. Half the time we get crippled up with fear, and that fear will constrict everything and put you into a like a fight or flight response. That fight or flight response is normal. It's also important to breathe through it, because if you don't breathe through it, what happens is you just confirm exactly the state that you were in. So let's say you put the camera up or your phone, you go to record, you press record and you say something and you're like, I can't do it. And you turn it off, you leave it. What happens in that instance is you confirm to yourself what has just occurred. You say it was dangerous, you say it was fearful, and you'll come up with a story. Some sort of story that protects you from that thing. So if someone asks you, hey, how did you go with that video recording challenge you were doing? And you recorded one video and gave up, you may give a reason, and that story is going to be bullshit. Because these stories that we create them out of fear. We create them to try and protect ourselves. And if you're running that story that says, well, I'm afraid, and then you may create a story because you don't want someone to know that you were afraid. And that story may be, I just didn't have enough time. I didn't feel like it. You know what? It's not really for me. It's, other people are doing it. Like, I think my thing is a different thing. Whatever the story may be for you, and you'll notice the story that just came up. What is that story for you? That story that's in your head right now, that you can hear talking right now, is the one. And there'll be other stories. The main thing here is to realize that no one really listens to your excuses. Not truly. And when they do listen to your excuses, and when they do allow them and they take them on board, what happens is they simply enable your behavior. And you may say, oh, I didn't do this thing, because XYZ. I didn't have enough time to do it. The first challenge that I did on on social media was doing Instagram stories, 1 minute per day. You realize how many excuses I came up with to try and not do it. Like, it was monumental. Oh, it's a 1 minute video. Like, everyone has a minute spare in their day. And if you don't, then there's something going wrong in your life. Like, 1 minute to be able to do that. And I would wake up, I'd go do my stuff throughout the day. I would have a million times that I could have done it. And sometimes I'd leave it till like 10 o'clock at night because I was putting it off constantly. And I was rationalizing it in my head. Feeling like I needed all of this space to do it. I needed to isolate myself or be in the right circumstance or something like that. And it was all bullshit. And the truth was that I was afraid of being in front of the camera. I didn't want to show people me in a non-happy mood, let's say. Let's say I didn't feel very good. I didn't want to show up that way. I didn't want to show up because the challenge was around sharing what's going on in our lives. It's because it's the easiest thing to talk about. It's also authentic. It's also about practicing that authenticity muscle of going, you know what, if someone asks me how I am, I'd like to give them a proper response. I'd like to be able to say, I feel drained today, or I feel great, I feel really good. Or maybe I feel sad, maybe I feel grief. This doesn't mean we have to tell someone the whole entire story. This means that we can express that and be present in front of the camera in that space. This is one of the big things that stops people from actually turning up, is that most of the people that you see turn up on YouTube and online and just in life turn up in spaces, they switch it on, they go, I'm in this zone now and I'm going to do it. Like, the amount of times, how many times have you gone to work and you haven't felt like going to work? You go there and you do the thing because you've said yes to doing the thing. And you've also said yes to another authority, someone who is like a boss or something like that keeps you accountable. And this is a bittersweet sort of thing, because something you'll note that if you have work on and you have a boss, that boss holds you accountable. And what happens is you outsource your authority to them. And so when it gets to, I don't know, you start work at 9 o'clock and you're like, cool, it's 8:30, I'm gonna leave now. There's a certain amount of discipline that you apply to turning up for someone else's authority over you. And the reason that most people don't do the personal endeavors and the personal challenges is because they don't trust their own inner authority. Their inner authority is looking for external sources to hold them accountable. Shadow of myself. This is the reason why I did this challenge. I did this challenge and posted it on YouTube so that I would have accountability. Granted, I created the accountability myself. However, there was a part of me that was still going, you know what? As long as people can see me doing it, there's nowhere I can hide. What if one person asks me, oh, you missed a day, what happened? It's a thing where if I were to reflect that on myself and I asked myself that question, what would arise would be guilt. And with guilt comes shame, becomes a story, becomes secretive. We start hiding it. And then we start projecting on other people. We start projecting hate at the world for something that we felt bad about, for something that we don't want to be found out. And so this is another thing. Have you ever been on any of these YouTube videos and you look in the comment section and there's people just slamming people, telling people they're wrong, telling people that whatever they're doing is just ultimately bringing negativity, instead of not really having clear conversation. There is clear conversation of a conflict. And then there's just straight up it's kind of abusive. It pretty much is abusive. And so something to realize about this space is, if you're in the space where you are putting videos up and you're sharing stuff, you're going to represent something to that person. And they're going to hate you for it. They're going to really hate you for it. They're going to throw all of their internal projections at them, everything that's going wrong with their life, they're going to throw at you in the forms of a comment. Maybe it's more of an energetic thing. Maybe they just sit there and send the video to a friend and laugh. Hey, check out this idiot. I realized I was doing that a lot. And because I was doing this was also the thing, I would point out things to other people and say, hey, look at this idiot, laughing at this thing and ridiculing people. And it was the one thing that was stopping me from even doing stuff, doing anything, posting, to be able to get on a camera and start posting some stuff. I was so afraid of the ridicule, because I was ridiculing other people. And I was ridiculing myself. And when we ridicule the world and we start doing something that's a bit edgy, we're going to cop all of the ridicule. And it's up to you how you decide to receive it. Because ultimately, the reason that we get into this space is because we're for myself, I want to become good at having attention on me. Because my ambitions require attention. They require me holding attention. They require me to be able to hold attention for a long period of time. Part reason for these videos is to stay within my own body whilst I'm speaking. And so, looking at this, when the attention comes towards you, whether it be negative or positive, have you ever heard the phrase, what's the word? I may butcher this. All press is good press. So if you get negative, if you get some sort of negative review or news or something like that directed towards you, if you have hate projected towards you, if someone's projecting all of their stuff, and I say projected because this is what happens. People go and say, I hate you, I hate this, you're shit, you have no idea what you're talking about. People project all this sort of stuff because it's going on inside of them. They're just projecting the hurt that they've got inside of them. And so as a receiver of that, it's up to us to alchemize that. And how do you alchemize negative attention? This is what I've been fascinated about for years, is that the people that really make a difference in this world are constantly alchemizing this attention, the attention that comes from other people. What happens if your friends and your family are projecting stuff on you? They're projecting, they're giving you hate, they're giving you doubt, they're giving you guilt, shame. Who are you to be doing that? Who are you to think they might say you're better than them, right? You're trying to be better than them. Maybe they're afraid that you're going to go off on your own endeavors and realize that they don't match with you. Because as soon as you start moving, this isn't a space of superiority. This is a space of who aligns vibrationally with what you're doing. For example, if you're really, really into surfing, you're going to attract more people that surf. You're going to be more aligned with people who surf because you've just got a vibrational frequency with that. If you are drinking a lot, you're going to have a lot of people around you who drink. And if you are smoking weed, you're going to have a lot of people around you that smoke weed because that's the vibrational frequency that you're operating at. And so I won't even go into whether it's better or worse. It's simply like a match. It's either a match or it's not. And if you break out of that, if you're in a circle of people who smoke weed all the time and you stop smoking weed, you're not going to be wanting to hang out with those people quite as much. You can try. Ultimately, you're going to still be in that same frequency of that. And you're going to be very tempted to go back into it. Not to say it's impossible. However, it's not going to really serve you too well. And so this is something about the stepping into the arena, stepping in to do the things that we really, really desire to do, our ambitions. And when we step into them, people will throw their shit at us. They'll throw their shit at you. And you're going to get a balance of positive attention and negative attention. And maybe somewhere in the middle. Mainly it'll be polarizing. The more that you stand out, the more that people are going to project their shit at you. That's just nature. The way that things work, because this is the thing. The person that can handle the most projections is winning. Because it means that that person stands out enough, that that person is sending them, people are sending them lots and lots of attention. And that attention is energy. So it doesn't matter whether someone gives you a negative comment or a positive comment. It depends on what you do with it that determines the result. You would hear people talk about actors or people giving up, like at awards ceremonies, and they will quite often they'll thank their haters. Conor McGregor's great with this. He creates haters. He knows what he knows what works. And when you can turn that negative attention, it polarizes everyone. Just by its very nature. Not because you need to intend for that to happen. However, the polarizing is where the success is at. That's where the people are going to be drawn towards you as magnetic if you allow yourself to stay within yourself and be yourself and find out what that version of yourself is. Dig deeper into who you are. And this is the thing that limits most people, and again, myself included, has for years I've tried to pretend to be someone. I've tried to pretend to be the nice guy, the person that everyone can rely on, the person that was nice, the person that was friendly, generous. And it frankly made me sick because those traits were not, I wasn't really owning those traits. I was fabricating those traits. Sure enough, they're values of mine. There's a lot of values of mine that I was trying to swing the pendulum in that positive realm and be more positive and be nice. But what was happening was I was denying my other sides. This was things like my darkness, like the darker sides of ourselves, the murderer inside of ourselves, the rapist, the killer, the predator, and all of these things that we have inside of ourselves that if we don't own the fact that they are there and that we actually need to embody them, not to kill people, but to have the capacity to kill and to know that deeply, to be able to feel what that feels like, because that is the source of power. And that is what a lot of people are afraid of. Most of society, we've been trained generally to fear this. This is all this attack on masculinity and all of that sort of thing. When the truly safe men, they know their capacity to kill. They choose not to. They know how much of a predator they are. And they choose not to. They choose not to do the thing. Yet when you're in their presence, you can feel that they can fuck you up. They will destroy you. And they choose not to. Because their values don't align with it. That's the integration of the shadows. And so, yeah. If you are going to be in the forefront and you really want your message to land, it's going to land. And it's going to land on the people that want to hear it and the people that don't want to hear it, because it highlights shit within inside of them and they'll project it at you. So for you to alchemize what comes towards you is things like, look at when if someone leaves you a negative comment, instead of reacting, see what it brings up in you. Feel the hatred, like feel that thing that's inside of you and go, okay, I'm gonna feel it. And if you don't know how to feel, I could do some future videos and there's plenty of stuff online about it, about how to feel your emotions, how to feel your feelings. And yes, men are meant to feel things. Anyone who's told you otherwise is full of shit. Brainwashed. And so this inability to feel feelings leaves us up in our heads, leaves us making excuses, leaves us attacking people back and going, fuck you. And sometimes there's a time for that, because we're not perfect. And yet we are perfect in everything. Everything that we are is right for this moment. Everything that you're not accepting inside of yourself is actually a wrapped gift that's waiting to be unwrapped. And so it's up to you to unwrap it, to choose to unwrap it, to unwrap the gift. Because everyone in this world has something cool to offer, something really valuable. And I'm exploring for myself what that gift is and how that looks. It's around the voice. It's around the voice and the confidence to be yourself. Because it takes guts to be yourself. It really does. It takes courage. And like I said, people will project their shit onto you for being more of yourself. So what does that say about the world? They're hurting. A lot of people hurting. And it's something that we can all choose. Not everyone's going to make it. Not everyone's going to choose it. I like to believe that most people can. It does come down to a choice on what you're willing to let go of in order to be more of yourself. You're going to have to let go of the stories. You'll have to let go of the identities that are around that, the beliefs that you have. An ego death. Ego death is simply you going these things don't serve me. There's a deeper part of myself that's yearning to be let out. And I'm going to do that. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It was day 25. Oh, which side are you guys at? So 2, 5. Yeah, there we go. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, hope this has given you some good reflection and help you on your journey. See you guys.